So this week, I'm alone here because Jamie is actually on a well deserved break. Let's talk about the news today. India commits billions to national AI infrastructure at India AI Impact Summit, largest event of its kind with 250,000 attendees expected. Tons of news that came out of there. We will talk a lot about what people said and even some of the awkward moments that happened there. We also saw Manus launches agentic workflows inside the chat apps using its agent through the Telegram. Google's also unveiled Gemini 3.1 Pro, and it's a leap forward in some of the benchmarks, even though it's an incremental update. That and more. Stay tuned for a quick introduction. Greetings. Welcome to the AI Files podcast. If you're looking to stay up to date on the AI, this is the podcast for you. I'm Shadab Hussain. I'm the director of AI at Microsoft, and I'm your co host.
Hello, everybody. Jamie Basilico, as you know already. I'm the other co-host here for the AI Files. My day job is a data and AI technical specialist and architect. And as a reminder, please note this is not an official Microsoft channel, so the views and opinions expressed by myself and Shadab are our own and do not represent the views of Microsoft.
So this week, India hosted a 4-day AI Impact Summit that was attended by executives from major AI labs and big tech, including OpenAI, Anthropic, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, and Cloudflare, as well as heads of state. The event had 250,000 visitors and saw Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, Reliance, which is one of the largest group, Chairman Mukesh Ambani. He has been actually one of the richest person in the world. Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis was also there. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered a speech, and French President Emmanuel Macron was also there in that speech, joining him. India earmarked $1.1 billion for its state backed venture capital fund. The fund will invest in artificial intelligence and advanced manufacturing startups across the country. One of the person who also attended was Vinod Khosla, and he made a statement that created a kind of a debate once again about the AI impact on the industries. So let's start with that as a quote of the week. Vinod Khosla said that AI services have a real opportunity for IT to adapt and move fast. He said, I have no question that GDP growth will accelerate because of AI. But because productivity is growing, you might see job losses or disruption in jobs. People will have to change what they do dramatically. When you get into the next 15 years, from 2040 to 2050, I think there will be such a large production of goods and services that things like food will be cheap and entertainment will be cheap. I know it sort of seems odd to believe, but by 2050, it's going to be very exciting. It will truly be an era of abundance if politics allows it to happen. If you are a farm worker laboring in 110-degree heat, it's not really a job, it's servitude to survival. If those things go away, if there is a lots of production of goods and services, that's what people need. The notion that there will be IT services over some period, whether it happens by 2030 or 2035, is hard to predict. The idea of providing software services to Western enterprises will go away. AI agents can do any BPO work, probably more accurately and faster than almost any human. One of the things Indian companies can do is to say, we won't hold on to that business, but we will hold on to those customers and provide them new services. Unquote. And I think there's a lot of truth in it. Vinod Khosla, a lot of people know he was one of the co-founder of Sun Microsystem. He has been a venture capitalist. He has been talking about AI. He has been investing in a lot of AI companies. So he has a lot of insights and where the future is going. His prediction about the AI and the basically AI will impact the IT and BPO services, which might disappear in 5 years. Now let's talk about that debate because that requires some level of depth. There is a that debate basically created I would say a lot of disagreements and some of the agreements etc as well. Many people agreed, many people disagreed, not entirely though, right? So there is a truth to it, but predictions is hard. Even Vinod Khosla said that. Phil Fersh, he actually wrote a piece on this, and he talked about one of his colleague Vijay Shankar writing about this as well. And they talk about a lot of issues which will basically mean that it's not going to be that easy journey. And I agree. The reason being that it's not just about simply a technology product capability. It's about the human behavior, the system behavior, the culture. A lot of things determine what will succeed and what will not. If it was simply about the product capability, we would have not had a mainframe in the companies. But we do. For decades, companies has been trying to actually replace the mainframe, hasn't been successful. Mainframe still does actually a lot of critical work. Why? Because of the risk management, because of the buying behavior, because of the priorities, a lot of factors that determine that. So, for example, procurement inertia, the buying behavior. Even if something is good, doesn't mean that it will replace everything. And there were some lessons drawn from microservices based architecture. And the LLM still has hallucinate, so humans still need to be in the loop because the laws are written for humans, not agents. If something goes wrong, human can be punished. What will you do when it's all agents? So everything has to evolve. In just a vacuum, you cannot just take a product technology and then replace everything. The entire ecosystem has to evolve, which I totally agree. This is what basically Vijay Shankar said. Phil Firsch, who's basically the founder of HFS Research, he works closely with the consulting and services company. So it's kind of like obvious that he will disagree with that position, but he also agrees that it will be a change. Um, they will be constrained. However, it may be an inflection point rather than a complete wipeout. So he talks about the labor centric services has to transform into AI native operating models. There is no more labor arbitrage that particularly the Indian companies providing the IT services have, I would say, used a lot in the past. The bottom line is the AI will not wipe out IT and BPO in 5 years. It will dismantle labor centric economics and force a rapid migration toward outcome driven AI embedded operating models. That's what Phil said. And he also says that Vinod Khosla is right about the velocity, and Vijay Shankar is right about the constraints. Now, let me add a couple of more points to this. One of the things that I've seen, which makes it difficult for the services and consulting companies to actually gain a lot of AI work because budgets are moving, right? And we have had debates about how the SaaS companies also are basically under pressure. Some people are declaring SaaS is dead, and we'll talk about that again in another episode. But basically, the budgets are moving from, let's say, SaaS system kind of work, typical IT work, over to the AI projects, right? Transformation projects. And it's not that easy to say that, okay, the IT companies just need to simply pivot and then start doing more of the AI work. The thing that what I've seen is in the enterprises, AI work is a niche work. People want to do that work. A lot of the work that services company were doing is not something was considered a core competency of the enterprises, and people did not want to do that work. It was repetitive, it was mundane, it was just volume based work, not really a value based work. But the AI kind of work everybody wants to do. So the enterprises are trying to do a lot of work themselves. They also see that as a core competency to leverage. So which means that there's not a lot of work or that budget from AI will simply pass on to the services company. The work that services company get, that is actually shrinking. And that's where is the existential crisis. We don't know what will happen in 5 years, but I would say that services company will see, I would say, convergence in the sense that they will have to either merge, acquire, consolidate, or they will have to basically become more AI developed, move maybe from services to more agentic driven workflow expertise, or even provide the agent. The evolution will be something that we all have to watch for. It's hard to say, but one thing is very clear: the status quo is not going to remain. Now, companies, particularly Indian companies, have also not been very forward thinking. They have been so much focused on the profits rather than developing the competency for the future. I'm not sure how quickly they can pivot. I've seen that firsthand because I've come from that industry, so I know how that works, and I feel that they really need to do some existential crisis thinking here and evolve. They have to drop some of the metrics they have been chasing relentlessly, like just the profit at the expense of research and the quality and the value that they provide. That's not going to survive. And the profit of like 25% is a lot. You're not an Apple, to be honest. Okay. You need to calibrate your profit that you expect. 5% profit, 10% profit is very healthy. If you are going to target 25% profit in the new industry, that's not going to happen. It will just lead to your collapse faster. In fact, unfortunately, it looks like that is still going to be the case. Vineet Nair, who is a former HCL Technologies CEO, he said also at the summit, quoting him, from an employment point of view, I think it is very important for us to understand that Indian companies, including Indian IT companies, are going to be profit driven. And therefore, if you believe that they are going to create employment, you must be dreaming. Therefore, the question is, how do we create employment in this environment? And that employment comes from mass scale startups, which is what this government has already been doing. Unquote. Now, look at the what has happened to the Indian IT industry, right? From the capitalization point of view. Stock market investors have raised nearly $50 billion from the market cap of IT companies since the start of 2025. And particularly the last month, when, for example, Anthropic's Cowork plugins and some of the other plugins that have come out from the AI companies, that has also led to a massive shrinking of that capitalization because there are a lot of questions being raised about the what will happen to all the work that the SI companies have been gathering. And I have tons of friends in that industry, and everybody is feeling that pressure, honestly. The same fears were also expressed by Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman almost a week ago, who warned that AI could automate a large share of white collar jobs within the next 12 to 18 months as the company accelerates development of what he calls professional grade HEI. So, time will tell what will happen really, how things will move. I do believe that it's not that easy to say that as soon as the AGI comes, everything gets replaced. That's not going to happen because that's not just a collapse of an industry or a company, it's a collapse of the society. The society works in an economical manner, which is basically cyclical. The people who work, who earn, they also actually put that back into the society and the economy. You cannot just simply eliminate all the employees and they expect the economy will keep chunking up. That's not going to happen. It's going to be basically you need to contribute to the economy if you want to gain from it. That's how it really works. So I don't believe that's going to happen. The countries and the policymakers will step up. You will see a lot of that churn. But one thing is clear: the status quo will not remain, and society will look different for sure. Whether AI will succeed or not, I think time will tell. To be honest, I feel that I'm very hopeful. I'm very optimistic with AI in terms of the capability that it can bring. It can certainly improve the lives. What I'm really worried about is the corporate greed, honestly. That is something that I feel generally kills a technology and create a mess rather than the technology itself. So let's hope that the leaders make it, use it well, and deploy it well. Anyway, let's move on and talk about some of the other things that also happened at the AI Impact Summit. Mukesh Ambani, the billionaire chairperson of India conglomerate Reliance, on Thursday, he unveiled the group's 10 trillion, wait a minute, rupees, which is basically $110 billion plan to build AI computing infrastructure in India over the next 7 years. Another Indian conglomerate, Adani, said that it is allocating $100 billion to build AI data centers that would use renewable energy in India by 2035. By the way, Adani does operate into renewable energy as well. So no surprise there that they can use one of their own industries capability to build these data centers. There's something called Adani Solar, for example. The company said that this investment will lead to an additional $150 billion investment in areas like server manufacturing, advanced electrical infrastructure, sovereign cloud platforms, and supporting industries. OpenAI has also partnered with India's Tata Group to secure 100 megawatts of AI ready data center capacity in the country, with plans to scale to 1 gigawatt. Sam Altman said that India accounts for more than 100 million weekly active ChatGPT users, second only to the US. He also said Indians account for the most students using the chat GPT. So it is very clear that there is a huge segment of Indian population that is very comfortable with AI. There's a lot of investment. India is often cited as the second largest market after US when it comes to the AI. And both OpenAI and Anthropic have said that as well for them. So China is different. Remember that China, it's not that doesn't mean that China doesn't have that base, but China, there are different companies that are actually operating in China. So China is an exception there. So also Indian AI company, there is a lot of localization that has also started happening there. So apart from the startup, the company like Servam, for example, it teased its upcoming smart glasses under the name Servam Case. The company has released several models in the past few weeks, including a dubbing model, a speech to text model, a text to speech model, and a vision model for optical character recognition. So there is a lot of local AI development that's also been happening. And that's, I think, also a flavor that you will see companies other countries want to adopt AI, but they also want localized, right? So either they are doing the tie-ups with the company like OpenAI and Anthropic, or they are promoting the local companies, particularly for example EU actually recognize that need a lot, and that's why they're investing in companies like and providing them the benefits like companies like Mistral AI, for example. Now, at that summit, also there was some other awkward thing that also happened. For example, Narendra Modi, when he was after the speech, he was basically standing with all the leaders of the AI, Sam Altman, Dario Amodei, Alexander Wong was there from Meta, Google, Sundar Pichai was there, and then he basically they were all standing in a line, and then he took everybody's hand, basically took the hands of the other adjacent two people, and then like a human chain everybody hold their hands and raise them up, right? It was a spontaneous, I think, moment. And unfortunately what happened was Sam Altman and Dario Amodai was actually standing next to each other, and that means that Sam Altman and Daria Madaya would have to actually hold their hands. They were the only one who did not hold each other's hand. They raised their hand uncomfortably, awkwardly. So it was a funny moment, and that has been a meme, I would say, and it's been viral. The another thing that went viral was there was actually a exhibit by a university, an Indian university, Galgodia's University. It's a private university, and they had an exhibit there, and they were trying to showcase the work that they're doing in the AI and robotics. And one of the video is where the one of the professor from that university, she claimed that okay, this robot has been it was basically a robot dog, and it has been developed by the university. They call it Orion. People pointed out very quickly that it's actually a unitary robot dog from China. And there was a lot of backlash, there were a lot of funny memes, and it went viral. And they were even asked to actually vacate that premise and go away from there. So and then later they say that no, it's not actually developed, we bought it, but we're doing research and things like that. But the damage was done, to be honest. So it happened. They did it for actually a couple of products, not just robot, but there was also another is solar robot drone as well. Anyway, the other aspect of the AI summit is while the AI summit was happening, Amnesty International also actually provided a code about, not basically disagreeing with the construct of this AI summit, because it did not include some of the responsible AI and the topics which were like there was no focus on those aspects as well. The AI safety and how to avoid AI's misuse; those sections were missing in that AI summit, 4-day AI summit. So Amnesty provided a statement quoting them. While India was lauded by world leaders for its technological progress, the human rights concern arising out of technology deployment in the country were papered over. Amnesty International's own research has shown that the deployment of harmful technologies such as facial recognition and automation in the public sector have threatened the right to privacy and social protection in India and have led to discrimination and exclusion of marginalized communities. Systems of mass surveillance are being expanded in an already pernicious context of rights abuses. Unquote. So that was another aspect of the summit as well. Now moving to the rapid news. Pentagon may cut ties with Anthropic over AI safeguards. The US Department of Defense is considering ending its relationship with AI firm Anthropic because the company won't agree to remove usage restrictions for military use, highlighting tensions over AI ethics and defense deployment. In another news, an AI safety researcher has quit US firm Anthropic with a cryptic warning that the world is in peril. In his resignation letter shared on X, Mrinang Sharma told the firm he was leaving amid the concerns about the AI, bioweapons, and the state of wider world. In the another news, the domain AI.com, originally purchased by Malaysian entrepreneur Arsian Ismail in 1993 for just $100, was sold in April 2025 to Chris Marzalek, who's a co-founder and CEO of Crypto.com, for $70 million, paid entirely in cryptocurrency, of course. OpenClaw. Remember that platform that went viral and talked about it last week? OpenClaw creator Peter Steinberger joins OpenAI. In a blog post, the Austrian developer, he said that while he might have been able to turn OpenClaw into a huge company, it's not really exciting for me. What I really want is to change the world, not build a large company. And teaming up with OpenAI is the fastest way to bring this to everyone. Sam Altman posted on X that in his new role, Steinberger will drive the next generation of personal agents. As for OpenClaw, Altman said it will live in a foundation as an open source project that OpenAI will continue to support. Personal agent. Let's talk about the personal agent because there is another launch that happened. Manus, they launched the Manus agents now available via chat channels, starting with Telegram. So Manus agent, basically these are personal agent or enterprise agent you can see, but now they're expanding into the personal agent domain and by extending that through the Telegram. This is clearly OpenClaw impact because OpenClaw actually it basically you could operate that through the Telegram, right, or the chat channels. You could just send a message to it, and then it can find out all the current meetings, right? It can go through your emails. It can do some even financial transactions, things like that. So that seems like has triggered a massive interest in the personal agents field now. So Manus has extended their Manus agent now through the Telegram, and it will be available to others as well. I'm pretty sure it's coming to the Meta's platform because Meta has acquired Manus a couple of months ago. These agents can launch multi-step tasks using the same core Manus capabilities. From research and data processing to structured reports and PDFs and requests can be started and result delivered directly in the chat. Now, I think this will also move into the enterprise world. Enterprise, where has been a lot of focus about the agents. I think that would also become the new battleground where you can do a lot of things through the Teams, for example, or Slack, etc. In fact, a lot of things you can already do. So when you have the, let's say, Copilot and some of the agents, when I go to my Teams today, I can actually include the agents in that, and I can ask them to do certain things. So, but probably there will be a lot more focus both in the personal as well as the enterprise domain. Another launch, Google released the Gemini 3.1 Pro. It's an incremental release. Remember, Gemini already has a 3.0 Pro, but nowadays, even the incremental launches can be actually significant. It can be leap forward sometime. So, for example, Google launched Gemini 3.1 Pro. It is an upgraded reasoning focused model in the Gemini 3 family. The launch is basically an upgrade to the core intelligence behind recent Gemini 3 Advanced. It is designed for harder problem solving use cases, like which require advanced reasoning, synthesis, planning, coding, and multimodal understanding rather than simple Q&A. Inputs modalities, just remember that inputs modalities, it can take the text, images, audio, and video. It's basically natively multimodal. Output is still just a text generation only with up to 64K output tokens. Context window up to 1 million tokens. It supports large documents, which kind of has become standardized now, that kind of context window length. And knowledge cutoff is January 2025. Now, Google reports a major reasoning jump versus Gemini 3 Pro, including 77.1% on ARC AGI2 as opposed to 31.1% for Gemini 3 Pro. That's a massive jump, okay, in one of the established benchmarks. Additional reported benchmark highlights include strong results in coding agentic tasks such as SUI bench verified at 80.6% and a couple of other benchmarks as well. So it's a massive upgrade, even though it is just incremental from Gemini 3 to Gemini 3.1, which is kind of happening as well. Like if you see there is a Sonnet and Opus 4.5 to 4.6 transition, Gemini 5 5.2 to 5.3. Because I think the companies don't want to wait too long to make these releases. They want to keep the limelight, because if they don't do it, and you see, right? I mean, within a week, all these three companies have made their releases. I think they all know what is going on at the other companies, and they time it so that the others don't take all the limelights. And it's a lot of branding game, to be honest, right? It's a lot of fascinating story of how the competition is heating up and how they are working against. And OpenAI is, I would say, the master of it, because they somehow know and they always try to do it earlier than the others to keep the limelight. But I think one of the things is that OpenAI models are not necessarily pushing the envelope a lot off late. So they need to actually do something more significant on that manner. Anyway, in terms of the pricing, it is the same pricing basically, just like the Gemini Pro 3. Now, one more thing I want to talk about the use case. We often talk about the different use cases, how the AI is being used. One of the use case is Gemini, for example, now offer free SAT practice exams. And in India, there's another very popular and very prestigious exam. It is for generally the entrance to the engineering colleges, IIT joint entrance exam, and it will also offer the practice. And I think this is very valuable. A lot of kids, like my own daughters, they have been going through the high school and they're preparing for the SAT. And generally, what you need is just the practices. Okay, you want to just be able to practice, practice, practice for these exams. And I think this is a great use case of this AI, and I think it will make it very popular among the students. So I think these capabilities should be more available. I believe, in the education world, I think I'm sure that OpenAI and Anthropic will also do something more so that the students can get hooked on every week. Maybe they can take a couple of practice exams, and even that could be a tutor as well, right? It can immediately provide the feedback. It can tell you where you did wrong, where you can improve, things like that. So I think it's a great field to apply AI into. Okay, with that, it's a wrap for this week. Next week, see you again. Bye, everyone.